Yo, 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 welcome back to Brandon Smooth TV. Back at you with another review. No, I've been on hiatus the last few weeks. Had some moving around to do, just moved into my new crib, things of that nature. But we back at it like a crack addict and we about to knock this shit out. Now, I will be back with the wrap up for the end of the boys season, but right now, as you see, we want to talk about your boy Thor, Love and Thunder, directed by Taika Waititi. Initially, what's my thoughts? Did I like it? Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't all good. It wasn't all bad. Do I think it's the best Thor movie? No. I think Ragnarok's a little better, in my opinion. Mainly because Loki was in there. The Hulk was in there that had some good scenes. Um, Things of that nature. Now, with Love and Thunder, it does pick up with Thor, and we know at the end of Endgame, he left with the Asgardians, right? Going on adventures, and I do appreciate that they did include the Guardians of the Galaxy at the beginning of this movie. I thought they would be in there a little longer, but the scenes that we got were super, super cool. Uh, Your boy Chris Pratt looked thin as hell in this. I mean, I'm so used to seeing him in the first and second Guardians, and he was a bigger guy than he lost weight, but he did look thin as hell in this. So, I just said maybe he grieving over Gamora. I don't know how they would put that. Anyways, we pick up with Thor. Thor's basically made a vow that he's not going to fight. He's just going to sit and meditate until he is called. You know what I'm saying? He's actually called for help. And the Guardians, they're having this big ass battle. And they finally call him. We know Thor's going to come in and shut shit down as usual. I did appreciate the flashbacks, and it was quick flashbacks also when they were showing Thor as a baby. He was in one of them baby things. His mama was battling, so he birthed in the battle. That's what Thor does. He's a warrior. He's a Viking. He's going to get it in. You know what I'm saying? So I do appreciate that. As far as Chris Hemsworth, he does a good job with balancing everything out. And I believe that he is our Thor. He's the person that does it. He understands this role, and it's something that he wants to do. Um, So that's the good parts about the movie. I like other parts also. Visually, this movie looks awesome. Visually, this is 80s. This looks like an 80s rock band cover. And of course, I say rock band. They play Guns N' Roses throughout this whole movie. So take it how you want. Now, Thor's on this journey, as I said. And the next thing you know, we get Gore the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale. I think he should have had a few more scenes just to flesh his character out. It starts off pretty fast. His origins, like the first 5 minutes, daughter died, kills his original guy when he found out the guys wasn't shit. And the necromancer sword basically corrupts him, and his mission is to kill all of the gods. So, as far as how he played the role, I think he did a fantastic job. But we didn't get him for too long, which is fine because it seems like we had a whole bunch of characters and other things that we had to push through. So on the quest to stop Gore, they end up going to goddamn Omnipotent City, where all the gods are. That was one of the better scenes to me in the movies, as far as how the comedy and how it landed. Because they try to push the comedy throughout this whole movie the entire time, and the shit just don't work. Because sometimes it's like a joke after joke after joke, and then another joke on top of that. That's when you start falling short, in my opinion. And the reason is, you can overdo jokes. I know this is a comedy, but it's also supposed to be dealing with the trauma of how Thor's dealing with everybody he lost, and how he's basically trying to find himself. So I don't think that balance is quite there. I think they overdid it with the comedy. Um, Jane Foster, the scenes when she had cancer was very, very sad. Her going to chemo. I've had family that went through chemo, and I actually been there for a few of those appointments, and I understood that. So her motivation to want to continue living and finding any means possible on Earth, because she was already a cold scientist. She had the means and capabilities and lab and money to basically work on the shit herself, but she had to go look for magic in order to help her. I know it kind of mirrors the comics, not 100%, but I do appreciate how they did it. Also, we all wondered how she was going to be able to be worthy of Mjolnir, and to wield Thor's to wield his hammer. And basically, all he told Mjolnir was to always take care of Jay when they was together, showing their scenes when they was together. But that actually put an enchantment on the hammer, kind of like what Odin did to him. So it makes sense that she became Thor. You know, she ended up seeking out help. She went to New Asgard. The hammer chose her. That would have been dope to see that scene, but we didn't get to see that. And she became the new mighty Thor. Now, as far as their relationship is concerned, I knew they had a relationship. In the first Thor, you know, she was basically all dreamy eyed over him. He was an alien, he was new, and they was kind of flirting with it. Thor Dark World, which I ain't gonna front you, I've only seen fucking maybe once and a half, maybe twice. They fell in love. I think they finally kissed and shit like that, and it was established. But by Thor Ragnarok, their relationship was non-existent. She wasn't even in the movie. You know, I think they briefly maybe discussed it, but like I said, it was non-existent. So there's a gap in their relationship, and the reason they had to put the montage scene of showing what happened in the past is for that reason. Not shitting on Jane Foster. I thought Natalie Portman did a good job, minus the jokes. I thought them was kind of corny as fuck. But she did a good job as far as being Lady Thor. It was believable, and of course you get the powers of Thor. So first I was like, how she know all these fighting combat moves? But I guess you know because you inherit all the powers of Thor. And I guess that assumes all the history and thousands of years of fighting. Who else we got in this piece? The scene with Gore the God Butcher that I liked the most was when he was talking to the kids. That was a good scene. And the ending scene, when he finally broke down and they said, look, you don't have to kill all the gods. You could just wish to bring your daughter back. The emotion that he brought. Basically, all the scenes is pretty good. He did get a little hammy when he was talking to the kids, but my favorite part was he was talking to the kids and he was kind of showing they was hypocrites about, you know, they was talking about, yeah, Thor chopped Thanos' head off. And then he come and pull a head off and everybody want to start wincing and screaming and being terrified and shit. That was a good little creepy scene. We talking about people to play like Freddy Krueger coming back. Hire Christian Bale. I think he can pull that shit off. It's some dudes we can get other than Robert Englund to do that. But that's a sidebar. I digress. Let me get back to Omnipotent City. Some people don't like Russell Crowe as Zeus. I thought that was the funniest scene in the movie. I thought when he pulled Thor and had that heart-to-heart, when he was like, now chill, baby case. Go have some wine. Go get some grape. Everything gonna be okay. We're gonna have an orgy. Everything is fine. Like, his nonchalantness about the whole guys getting murdered situation and him being Zeus, because we know his history, if you know anything about Greek mythology, that shit was hilarious. And I thought Russell Crowe did a good job. I also like the post-credit scene. Well, not the post-credit scene, but the end of the movie where he tells Hercules to go get Thor. And that's setting up a whole other movie. So that shit was dope. Like I said, the Omnipotent City looked fabulous. I like to see all the guys that they showed. That was really dope. So that was a good scene. Now, Valkyrie did a good job. They gave Valkyrie more to do in this, which I appreciate. And I appreciate that they kept the essence of who she is in the movie. She is a warrior. She's bored of really being the king of Asgard. She's doing it. It's cool, but she's really bored with doing it. So she wants to go fight. And I think eventually that's going to be her journey. She ends up doing that and somebody else is going to have to take the throne. So that's dope too. Korg is Korg. In every movie, Korg is funny. Korg be having me rolling. When Zeus threw the lightning bolt through Korg, he said, I'm perishing. His choice of words right there, that shit had me rolling. Maybe it was just me. Now, let's get to the comedy. Like I said, Omnipotent City comedy was good. Korg's always funny. The Screaming Goats. The Screaming Goats was funny the first 2 or 3 times. After that shit, it started getting annoying. That shit was loud as fuck. And I think you can play a joke out. That shit was like Biggie said. That shit's getting played out like the polka dots. Like this shit's old. So use your jokes sparingly. And I know why you use them and they worked in certain areas, but in some areas they didn't. Other than Omnipotent City and a few other points throughout the movie, the comedy didn't land. The problem to me is you have a comedic character, and they kind of play off the more serious characters. When you have that, it works better. Why y'all think Guardians of the Galaxy work? Because you do have straight-laced characters, even though they funny as shit like Drax, who takes everything literally. Gamora was another character who was very, very serious, that took everything serious. And Nebula was also a character that takes a lot of shit serious, even though they have funny moments. So when you have fucking Star-Lord, when you got Rocket Raccoon, when you got these people being jokeful and doing funny shit, it makes it even funnier than playing the jokes off the straightforward type person, right? In this movie, Thor was telling jokes, Valkyrie was telling jokes, Korra was telling jokes, Jane Foster was telling jokes. Everybody was fucking telling jokes. Who was the straight-laced character in this that was serious throughout? It wasn't one. And I understand it's a comedy, you might not have to quote-unquote have one, but that's, to me, what makes jokes work the best. To me. Anybody, go back to fucking, like, Lethal Weapon. Go back to fucking, like, Rush Hour. You know, Jackie Chan's a little more serious, and then you got Chris Tucker running around acting a fool. Go back to Money Talks with Charlie Sheen and Chris Tucker. Like, movies like that, that's when the comedy works best, when you do that. And, of course, I like Thor Ragnarok, but it was some serious moments in there dealing with death and a lot of stuff. Also, this movie almost became a parody of itself. When they did the play that had Chris Hemsworth's brother, I think, and Matt Damon playing Loki, and then Melissa McCarthy playing Hela, they was basically making fun of Thor Ragnarok, so it was almost a parody within a parody of itself, but this whole movie almost seemed like a parody in my opinion. So, overall, I mean, I don't rate movies. I tell you what I like, I tell you what I don't like. I'm not one of those reviewers that just come in like, I fucking hate this, because it is stuff I like to watch. Will I watch it again? Hell yeah, if it's on TV, I'll check it out. You know, might pop it in, watch it in sequence with Ragnarok, but overall, it was better than the Eternals. That's my review. This movie is better than the Eternals. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will be back with more reviews.